And we're ready to get things going again, moving on into the draft. We're a little bit over halfway through right now. VP Polar opening up with, well, two picks that aren't too surprising. Two very tanky heroes, very adept at fighting early. And even despite the latest patch changes, doesn't matter. These two heroes remain very popular in the Death Prophet and the Razor. On the side of Alliance, they go ahead and grab the Ogre Magi very early. If there's any support or any hero really in all of Dota right now that has seen his star rise, it is Ogre Magi. Just really prioritized by a lot of teams in a lot of different situations. Excellent roamer, excellent laner, and really transitions well into the late game as well, almost no matter what you put him with, just because of the power of Bloodlust. And he's very tanky in and of himself, and they pair him up with another very tanky support in the Jakiro, and now they follow it up with the Gyrocopters. So IO is still available, certainly something worth mentioning, and Alliance has been a team classically, you know, this core group of players, even though currently, again, playing with 8 Mother standing in for Chessie, and of course Misery as a part of this squad as well here today. They're still a team that has always really run the IO very well in any number of situations, so we'll see if that's something of which they want to avail themselves. Virtus.Pro, though, gets a little bit of strong support action on their side as well, following it up with the Skywrath Mage. So these front three for VP, I mean, if you go back to TI4 and before 6.82 was introduced and really showed us that Dota was heading in a slightly different direction than what we had seen at TI4, these three were arguably the three most popular picks you were going to see in any number of situations. Of course, the Viper was a part of that, Faceless Void as well. But for the most part, these three are just so good at applying pressure early. They're so good in lane in particular, and there's a lot you can do with them. I mean, Death Prophet and Razor are generally heroes that you want to see isolated in solo lanes, be it solo mid, or if you want to go aggressive and give a solo safe to one while you mid the other, just because they both really do well in lane. They're able to spam out waves and keep themselves safe, but they also benefit so tremendously from having early levels and being able to then translate those into early team fight. And just their ability to roam around the map and make things happen with speed is another thing worth mentioning. I mean, whenever you talk Death Prophet and Witchcraft and Razor with Unstable Current, these are heroes that can be on you in a second and heroes that can punish you just as badly as any in the game as a whole for being out of position, for overextending, or for not reading the map correctly whenever you're put in the dark. Alliance, though, continues to go with the tanky approach. Gyrocopter, not particularly tanky, but the Dragon Knight most certainly is. They're going to have a lot of push on the side of Alliance as well. Dragon Knight with his level 6 Elder Dragon form, and, you know, all the way up, but certainly starting at level 6, that's a hero that's going to be able to take towers very quickly, earn them some map control, and give that Gyrocopter a lot of room to breathe and room to farm, especially whenever you talk about the power of that with Jakiro's Liquid Fire. And there are a number of ways you can build the Jakiro, but more often than not, you do see a lot of priority put on maxing Liquid Fire very, very early on, or at the very least, your first 3 or 4 levels, you're going to get 2 at least points into it. So, again, this is not a game where I think we're going to be wanting for action, as it looks like Alliance is going to be wanting to earn themselves a whole lot of room on the map and continue to press on VP, but VP adding on the Centaur Warrunner now, an excellent initiator, and that really rounds things out well for them. Skywrath, of course, with Concussive Shot, can be used as a kind of a chasing initiator or just a surprise initiator, but he's certainly not that big, beefy bruiser that you want to have up front, especially whenever you have two heroes like a Death Prophet and a Razor who, while they can tank up and be very, very difficult to bring down if they're given a sufficient amount of levels and a little bit of gold to build a few items here and there, they're still not the heroes that you want absorbing a lot of your punishment, whereas Centaur is going to be more than happy to go that direction. He also has the option of going with a number of items that are going to help the team out. Blink certainly will be a very early pickup for him, but even aside from that, he'll probably look to grab himself a pipe at some point very early on. And Blade Mail is, of course, an option as well, as there is a hell of a lot of AoE on the side of Alliance. And speaking of, they want to condense that AoE a little bit as they add the Darkseer. And really like Darkseer and the way he works with Jakiro in particular. But whenever you talk about what he's capable of accomplishing with a Jakiro and a Gyrocopter, with just any amount of team coordination, it really is phenomenal. 5 seconds. And just want to double check, since I am solo casting, have to make sure. Okay, looks like everything's good. Apparently there was a little bit of scratch taking place with some of the audio, but hopefully everything is nice and clear right now. Anyway, we do see the Sand King, the last hero picked up on the side of VP Polar. And yeah, this is going to be a very action-packed series without a doubt. But this game in particular, a lot of very aggressive picks. And back to what I was saying about Alliance, the Darkseer and the Jakiro vacuum wall into Ice Path with a call down from Gyrocopter means they're going to be able to punish any sort of grouping together that Virtus.Pro happens to fall into. But at the same time, VP has got a squad, especially with the addition of that Sand King, that really can just flat out pick this team apart if they're not very careful in the way that they move across the map, and especially in the early laning phase. So we are going to go ahead and move in. Again, let's take a look at who's handling who. It's going to be Admiral Bulldog playing on our Darkseer. We're going to have the Jakiro handled by Misery. Ake is going to be on the other support position. No surprise there with the Ogre Magi. It's going to be Loda who's farming up that Gyrocopter. 8mother, who is standing in for Chessie, will be playing on our Dragon Knight. On the other side of the river, we do have Gold Black, who once again, we honestly weren't even sure if he was going to end up playing today or how that's going to pan out in the future, but he is playing for Polar, at least for right now. He'll be on that Sand King, going to be Razor, played by Illidan Stormrange, and of course will be the Lil on our Death Prophet, who's setting up shop in mid. Phobos will be playing on the Centaur, and this is their stand-in. I'm not even going to attempt that. I do not speak Cyrillic, and I'm going to just call him stand-in, or X, or Skywrath Mage, one of the two. So as the lanes take shape, it looks like it is going to be no aggression out of either squad. At least that's the way it looks for the moment. It could very well be possible that, with this, I don't blame at all Alliance for not wanting to go aggressive. Obviously, Gyro not always the best in that situation, but I think we are going to see a lot of early activity out of Misery and, of course, Ake to begin things and to certainly put a lot of pressure onto that mid lane. It is going to be Illidan, who is on the Razor. He and Gold Black keep an eye on things, and it's going to be a regen rune that will be denied. Couple of wards, really, placed right on top of each other as Bulldog got his down, and it looks like they're going to try to punish him. So anticipating Bulldog on this Darkseer out in the offlane. But for the most part, outside of a few kill attempts on the offlaners, I don't know that we're going to see a whole lot of action on the side lanes. I do think this mid lane is going to be heavily contested, as if you can get a kill or two off onto the Death Prophet to lead the match off, and with the strong roam potential of a Jakiro and an Ogre Magi, I don't know that they're not going to try to avail themselves of that. And the same is true on the side of VP Polar, having a Skywrath Mage as well as Gold Black on the Sand King to roam. Very, very effective roamers, and certainly Dragon Knight, not the most survivable and escapable hero on the map. So the early CS should be relatively static. We're going to see Bulldog actually already getting down a sentry, so he's able to protect himself. This is going to free up a lot of space for him down at bottom. We can see Phobos is currently happily taking a lot of XP right in the face of Loda and company. It's going to be Ake who's getting his pull on, and the connection will be there. So what we really want to watch here again is going to be, oh, the nice counter warding going back down out of VP Polar now. And Bulldog, even though he can't keep his vision up, at the very least he does manage to get the deny on the rune. So he's still going to have to play very careful, but he has found level 2. So he's got Ion Shell and he has Surge. So he's going to be able to play quite a bit far forward. And this is just a situation in which a Bulldog really excels. I mean, for the longest time, he's always been that guy who can make something out of nothing in terms of having survivable off-lane heroes. And certainly he can farm as well. And I really want to see what his item build's going to be. One of the nice things, even though Darkseer isn't nearly as popular as he once was in the grand scheme of things, he is a hero who takes a lot of pressure off of your squad in terms of getting up some early core items. Mechanism, of course, very often an early pickup. You see him get a Blink Dagger very early many times, and we can see our Skywrath is going to go ahead and continue to D-ward down at bottom. Phobos has found himself a haste rune, so he's level 2, and he's going to be able to play right in the face of everyone. And one thing he's going to be able to do, at least until the Jakiro gets a few levels, is reliably stay right in their face and not feel like he's going to die that easily. Ake has yet to really show himself in lane since the initial horn. He's been back stacking and pulling and the such. But with, Jakiro, Ice Path is such an amazing ability, but you do need levels in it. And again, one point in the Liquid Fire, he's already going to have seen that, so he knows at most Ice Path can only have 1 point, and I want to see where his second point goes. A lot of early decisions to be made, but, I mean, there's going to come a point where the Centaur is going to be 6 anyway, and he's already just about to level 3, which is quite good, especially when you consider he's even with Misery right now, and Ake has barely been in lane. So for him on this hero, he's doing a pretty excellent job. He's moving his way over to just to sap some experience from that pull camp. Ake, though, has already cleared it, and we can see ready to auto attack this down a little bit as well. Taking a look at the early CS, it is going the way of Polar in that regard, as Illidan has tallied 17 for himself, and it's going to be their Death Prophet in mid. At 15, Gyro is farming well, though. He's right at that 15 mark. 12 for the Dragon Knight, so even though he is taking a little bit of abuse, we can see he's gone across the board with his abilities. One point in the Dragon's Blood, all he really felt like he needed. He has his bottle, has had it for a while, certainly has been making use of the Crow, and he's able to stand quite easily. Level-wise, pretty much even across the board as well. We can see Bulldog's level 3, the Centaur is level 2, but very close to level 3, and will likely get level 3 off of this. We got to see if they want to try to do anything to keep this tower up. Misery did hit level 3, did put his second point in the liquid fire, so no surprise there. Homing missile, enough to chase Phobos back. They're going to be able to get a remarkable amount of damage done here, and if they don't send somebody down, they may very well lose it. It's going to be close. They have Glyph, so they can probably buy themselves a little bit more time. They will go ahead and do that. But the power of liquid fire is just so immense. In the meantime, we're going to see Lil in middle in some trouble. There's going to be a TP coming in that's going to be the stand-in. And, oh, he barely survives the Dragon's Breath. Or the Breathe Fire, excuse me. And behind that, oh, nice Burrow Strike coming out of Gold Black. They may get 8 Mother out of this. Going to be so close. No. Able to bottle himself up just in time. Gold Black came in to help, as did their stand-in on the Skywrath. The bottom tier 1 did drop in the meantime. And looks like Phobos did get level 3.5 out of that, but still no first blood on the board. A couple of very, very close calls. But again, I'm honestly a little surprised that this is the most action we've seen on that mid lane after 5 minutes in. Razor's TP'd bottom to make sure that he can wards off any other potential push coming out of Alliance, and they will go ahead and fall back. Taking a look at Loda's build so far, just as he's not going with the super greedy Midas. Very often on heroes like Gyro, who do need just a truly immense amount of farm, you will see Loda go with a Midas pickup very early on and just rely on his team to buy him time. But with all the combat potential and all the coming storm, they're going to have to anticipate with a Death Prophet and a Razor on the other side, not to mention 2 of the strongest early damage dealing, especially magic damage dealing, supports in the entire game. They know they're not going to have a ton of time before Loda has to start showing up to fight. So with the phase boots done, and given, again, he's up against a Skywrath, up against the Sand King, and so on, would imagine the BKB is going to be his next major pickup. Taking a look at the Dragon Knight, he's going very stable so far, has a Bracer on the way. And Bulldog, yeah, hasn't really gotten a whole lot of gold yet. I mean, we can take a look at the overall net worth and see, yeah, he's middle of the pack. Actually, Ake right now on the Pure 5 support that support Ogre Magi that has basically been doing nothing but pulling that bottom lane. He's got about the same net worth as the Ogre, or as the Darkseer, excuse me. So, in the grand scheme of things, they've done quite a nice job of keeping Bulldog out of relevance. And he has played very carefully, so he hasn't taken many chances. There really hasn't been an opportunity for them to kill him. But that caution has cost them a little bit of potential gold and level game early. Speaking of gold and level game, Gold Black has made his way into the jungle. He's going to be playing catch up. We're going to hear the ulti used, and we can see there's going to be our first blood as they find Ake roaming through the jungle. Gold Black didn't even try to come over at that point, and the exorcism used by Lil, not even really necessary. So early on, it's been quiet for the most part, but we may begin to see that action that we have anticipated show itself very, very soon. In mid, we're going to have a couple of TPs. Misery's right there. Now we're going to have Loda come in. 8 Mother has that invis, and now he's going to go ahead and lead off. There's going to be the homing missile onto him. In the meantime, Ice Path catches him from behind. They will get him with the homing missile, and down he goes. So they get a return kill, and a very good one on that mid Death Prophet. And 8 Mother having that invis, allowing him to lead things off with the Dragon Tail. And they're going to be able to push. I mean, just look at this. They're going to go ahead and glyph, and that'll help a bit for now. But once we see this liquid fire, which is now level 3, by the way, along with the Elder Dragon form, just look how quickly this tower is ticking down, and no one's even auto-attacking it. It's just the damage over time from those 2 abilities, and they're going to be so good at just taking these objectives off of any kind of lead they happen to get. Gold Black, in the meantime, he's going to beeline for a blink dagger, and he's going to need it. If they can get a quick blink up on Gold Black, relatively quick anyways, we are at about 8 minutes. He actually is going to be caught with the Ice Path. Here comes Ake to follow it up. Oh, he didn't Burrow Strike down. Now he's going to end up having a Sandstorm, but it's not going to matter. They have more than enough damage over time, and he's just going to end up melting down. If he had burrow striked and made it to the low ground, maybe he could have done something, but instead, that's a 2-for-1 lead for Alliance now. So I want to see how Alliance is going to react to this. They have to make room. They have to make room for Loda to get his farm. He has picked up his Ogre Club, so it will end up being that BKB build, one would only imagine, but they are giving room to the Centaur as well. He's got up his Trank, still quite a ways away from his Blink Dagger, unless he happens to have something hidden that I don't see. But with him, he'll start making progress towards his Blink Dagger, and the Sand King already has made up some ground. He's level 4 now. If he can get some space in the jungle, he'll have his Blink up very, very quickly. And with those two, not to mention the mobility that you have out of the Razor and the Death Prophet, just innately in how the heroes work and feel at this stage of the game, they're going to be able to take very aggressive fights and dictate the pace of this game. In the meantime, on the side of Alliance, they do have the Gyro, which needs farm, and really the Dragon Knight needs a bit more than he has as well. I mean, he's right there in terms of net worth, but he has gone with this kind of junkyard build. He's got a bracer, he's got his brown boots, and he's got a belt of strength, but he needs some item development very, very desperately. And much like that Gyro, an early BKB is going to be not just needed, but absolutely essential and necessary. Golblack sitting near mid. We're going to see Little make his way over as well. So for now, looks like we will have a little bit of downtime. Nope, check that. Alliance has other things in mind. Again, making that room, trying to free this map up, not allowing Virtus.Pro to take the initiative and set the entire pace of this game. They're going to move up. They're going to have a chance to catch this Skywrath. Oh, no, they actually went the long way around. And behind them, oh, here comes Golblack. Yep, there you go. Caught from the high ground. His team could potentially react. No, they're actually going to try to collapse onto them. It's going to be Illidan. And there's Skywrath, who's now caught under their own Tier 1. Homing missiles on the way. That Tier 1 doesn't have much health either. They need to make their way into the woods. The rest of the team looks like they're not too keen to react. Wow, look at that burst. Cooldown's going to be there onto the Skywrath as well. TPs are coming in, but is it going to be enough? There's going to be the static link onto 1, and Illidan did manage to sap 42 damage. Ice passes out there, catches Golblack. Golblack has Burrow Strike at the ready. Crypt Swarm a little bit short. 8 Mother, though, left behind, and will be cleaned up in return. The rest of Alliance has decided to pull back. And even though it's so good for them to do this and to make this space and to get this pressure going, they did have to send Loda up there, and then they end up losing one of their cores who really needs a lot of momentum at this stage of the game. So I honestly don't know if that's a trade that they're going to have been all that happy about. And Loda has actually picked up, yeah, he's picked up a Staff of Wizardry. So I want to see what their plan's going to be here, going with the Staff of Wizardry and the Ogre Club. One would think, again, the BKB would be the natural decision, but he's going to go something weird like Scepter? Surely not. We'll have to wait and see. Bulldog, in the meantime, is going to be picking up, one would imagine, the mechanism, as he has added a headdress, although I suppose he could end up going straight for a pipe as well. And yeah, there's no mech build on anyone else that I'm seeing, so they could very well forego it and opt for a mech or opt for a pipe instead, given the immense amount of magic damage output they're going to have to cope with. But they know they have to get momentum. These heroes, this composition is very momentum based. It's very peak and valley. And there's going to be an Ice Pass. Second time they're going to have a chance to catch a Golblack. They're also going to be able to take a stack at the very least. Does manage to Burrow Strike his way down to the low ground this time. Macro Pyre spent just so they can take this stack a little bit more quickly, but at least able to slow him down and undo some of the time those supports spent stacking that camp for Golblack Sand King. And he is getting somewhat close to his blink. He's got about 900 gold, but if Alliance can keep the pressure up, they're going to be in wonderful shape. So, Alliance continuing to pour it on as they still have 5 up in this top lane. And taking a look at Illidan, he's kind of gone with a Junkyard build as well. He's got a Ring of Health, Ring of Regen. Already, and he has up his Ogre Club, so he's going to be feeling kind of tanky. We'll see if BKB is going to be the early call for him as well. Level 8, and not sitting as well in the net worth chart as I think you would like. Homing Missile will connect, and that's actually doing a fair amount of damage from Loda, as Loda has maxed it even over Rocket Barrage. So that Homing Missile in conjunction with all the other chain stun potential they have, I mean, they really do, and I didn't really talk about it. But whenever you talk about Homing Missile, it's usually an unreliable spell because, you know, it's tough to guarantee it's going to connect when you want it to. Your target's going to move. You don't know where the flow of the fight's going to go. But you've got a lot of amazing single target stuns now. I mean, you've got Fire Blast, you've got Dragon Tail. Just those two together is a long duration lockdown for any one hero if they chain them together. And that's going to be more than enough time for a homing missile that's pre-placed to get on a hero right where they want it to be. Loda, in the meantime, has gone back to farming and is down in this bottom lane. The rest of Alliance, though, keeping the attention of Virtus.Pro up at top. And we're actually going to see Illidan caught out. There's going to be the Fire Blast to lead. He has on the static link. Concussive shots there. Ends up catching 2. And now there's going to be the Stampede. They're going to try to chase him into the woods. Illidan right on top of Misery, and along with the Skywrath, they secure the kill. Goldblack going to look to make it 2. Let's see if he can find his Burrow Strike. Ake trying to lose him in the fog. Goldblack, level 3 Burrow Strike. The range is pretty decent, but no, he just flat out got outrun. That's level 2 boots on Ake. And he gets the Surge from Bulldog to get him to safety as well. So a little bit of a missed opportunity there, but they do manage to punish them for staying extended as long as they did. Only getting a kill on the Jakiro, though, and in the meantime, Loda has been doing his job down at bottom. Just farm, 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 farm. Up to 1,500 gold, give or take. And I want to see what's up with the Staff of Wizardry. That'll be fun if he does something unorthodox. I still think he's probably just going to pick up a Mithril Hammer now and go something BKB. Something he really, really needs. 7 kills, 14 minutes in. So not the most active game, but the action is beginning to pick up. 8 Mother able to chase away Phobos as he was caught waiting on the rune. Bounty will be picked up by that Dragon Knight. There's an illusion at top. And it's going to be another smoke out of Alliance. So, and this is what I was talking about previously. Like, they have to keep this up. They really can't allow Polar to be in a situation where they can dictate the pace of the game. Because if they start taking fights on their own terms, it's actually going to be a Yule Scepter on the Gyrocopter. So fun pick up there. And that's going to allow him to stay relevant in these fights much, much longer. And certainly shores up some mana issues as well. Now we're going to see Illidan getting eyes on a Misery. Here comes Bulldog. Bulldog's right there with him. Ake there as well. Macro Pyre goes down. Misery. Nice Burrow Strike from Goldblack. Caught 2 right in the middle of the Macro Pyre. And Bulldog's going to die to auto attacks before he can make it down to the low ground. The Stampede was there from Polar once again. And this has got to be a troublesome moment for Alliance. They are getting some push on down at bottom as 8 Mothers pecking away at the tier 1. But Alliance now trails in kills. They're beginning to feel the sting of this squad that Polar has drafted. And, I mean, the honest truth is Alliance just has a little bit of a greedier lineup. I mean, Polar, even now, is still not operating at peak efficiency. They're lacking a blink on Goldblack. They're lacking a blink on their Centaur. That's not going to be the case very long. And now we see the Yule's picked up. That's an expected Yule's carrier. The Death Prophet. So the item progression certainly moving at about the pace that Polar would like. And I feel like Alliance hasn't done quite enough to get over the hump. With the Yule's done, I'm sure we'll see Loda finish up his BKB now. And this is just worrisome. I mean, Bulldog will be getting the mech, by the way, as he had the headdress for a while, did add the buckler. And now only 100 gold away, so they're going to have that very, very soon. Will be a BKB build on 8 Mother as well. I mean, really, this game at this stage, before we start to see the right-click really built on Loda's Gyrocopter, it's all about magic damage. Both teams just have it in absolute heaps. Polar, in the meantime, though, does have a bit more. They do have the ability to burst down not just one hero, but to burst down an entire team if the initiation is there. And more importantly, it's one thing, it's just one of those things casters say very often. It's like, oh, if they have the initiation. But it's, just because you're the first to jump into a fight doesn't necessarily mean you have the initiation advantage. Sometimes you screw up. Sometimes the positioning's bad. Sometimes there's a miscommunication. But it's a lot more forgiving whenever you have 2 great AoE stuns as the Stomp from the Centaur and, of course, the Burrow Strike from Sand King. And just the sheer nature of how quickly this team moves. I mean, Razor and the Witch Star, or the Death Prophet, are just race cars to begin with. Now you add in a Stampede, and you add in a Yule's on the Death Prophet, and you add in 2 Blink Daggers on the Sand King. Alliance is going to feel like they're getting swarmed once all of these items are done. And speaking of, the Blink Dagger just about done on Phobos now. And it's going to end up being the Lotus show. I mean, the support play is going to have to be there, and the big play potential for Alliance is certainly there as well. Make no mistake. I mean, a vacuum into a max level Ice Path, and wow, he actually hasn't placed the second point in the Ice Path yet. I don't know that that's going to be a make or break kind of a thing for them. I totally understand. I love the max liquid fire build. In fact, I feel like it's the way to play Jakiro right now in just about any lineup, especially one that wants to fight early. But they really have this great combo potential that I feel like they have to put together. Otherwise, VP Polar has even more combo potential. They have the ability. I mean, and again, it's not just the AoEs. I mean, you're talking the power of Double Edge, which is just gigantic in and of itself. Double Edge plus a a Mystic Flare coming from the Skywrath Mage. I mean, their ability to blow up in one person or one small area or even one big area, if they put it all together with an epicenter, is just through the roof. So Alliance has to have the ability to counter that. They have to have the ability to blow, to just wipe their side in the same speed. Otherwise, they're going to be able to reset so well. And the thing about Polar is they actually do quite well in fights that get drawn out as well. That's just one of the powers of a Death Prophet. She's hanging around the back, and she's got her frontline bruisers up front. You've got your Razor with a static link that's sapping damage and just getting stronger as the fight goes. That's going to be tough for Polar to deal with. They are going to end up trading tier 1 for tier 1, or at least trying to counter push as they trade away their tier 1. But Polar going to be in position and in time to save their tier 2. There's the BKB done on the Razor now. And, you know, this is something I was talking about earlier. Their ability to chain stun, they're really reliant on that. I mean, they're really reliant not just on their ability to single target, disable, whatever their priority target happens to be based on the situation. But again, that combo potential has to be there. But as BKBs come out, this is going to be very, very difficult for them, and something that's going to be very comfortable for Polar to do is just to go mass magic immunity. I mean, it is not uncommon at all for a Sand King who has the gold to go second item BKB after his Blink Dagger. You already have it up on Illidan. Of course, a BKB on a Death Prophet, very common. Centaur, natural BKB builder, although I think he may end up going with something else first. And even the Skywrath. I mean, Skywrath, you know, he's obviously not the one you would think would get it, but he's going to be away from the back of the fight for the most part as well. And if they get rid of all the ability for Alliance to wombo combo and to walk down these high priority targets with single target stuns, I don't know how they fight, at least until Load is gigantic and is just melting the entire team with Flak Cannon. Speaking of melting, Roche not standing for long as Polar will take this Roshan. The tier 2, not likely to be salvageable. Yeah, they're just going to go ahead and teleport up to the tier 2 top. The tier 2 mid, they're just going to have to let go. So at the very least, Alliance is putting the strength of this squad to use, to good use. The ability to take towers ridiculously quickly, so long as you're in the right position and so long as you can anticipate the movement of the other side. So at 20 minutes in, let's take our first look at the gold graph, and Alliance is actually leading in net worth right now. The experience is about dead even, but this net worth lead is really just more or less Loda. I mean, whenever you look, he's getting near 10K. Razor's the next highest on the side of VP. Actually, he and Death Prophet both are hanging right around the 75 to 8,000 mark, but most of their lead at this point is just the efficiency of Loda. He's getting near 10K. He does have his BKB done. He has his Yules up, as mentioned. So he's going to be willing to come fight sometime soon. But I feel like we're going to start seeing smokes out of Virtus.Pro very soon. We're going to see them most likely put this Aegis to use. I don't think this is going to be a farming Aegis with their item progression being what it is. In fact, we can see Ogre Club, yep, Mithril Hammer picked up, so it's going to be a second item BKB coming out on the Death Prophet as well. There's that BKB build coming out for Phobos as well, as he's picked up his own Ogre Club. So you can't help but feel like things are on a little bit of a timer. Another Yule Scepter's up as well. Misery, adding it to his collection. BKB done on the side of, or for Ape Mother, I should say, on the side of Alliance. So that's very important. Having these two heroes, the Dragon Knight and the Gyrocopter with BKBs, just of immense importance. It can't be underestimated. They have to keep those heroes alive. And, you know, both of them, I mean, the Gyro, as it gets later and later, he becomes this just whirling death ball that just mashes teams in the mouth with flat cannon and huge damage builds. But the Dragon Knight in particular is much more of an anchor hero. He tends to manage fights, especially as he gets closer to level 16. He's just one of those heroes. The stun's on low cooldown. Breathe Fire can't be underestimated in terms of its damage output. I mean, it's 300 damage in an AoE, so that's always going to be good. So his positioning and his survivability in fights, if he wants to have the ability to drag them out, is a big deal. And it's a big deal against the Death Prophet as well. Given Dragon's Blood helps him out armor-wise, survivability-wise against the power of Exorcism. They take the tier 1 bottom and immediately react en masse up to top. There's only 3 there for the moment. They have their 4th in mid, and down at bottom we see Gold Black still hanging around. Does have a TP if Alliance decides to try to press the issue. And it looks like that might be the plan. Yep, there's going to be the ulti deployed, just level 2 Elder Dragon form. And they're going to take this tower really quickly. Gold Black's going to land in. They're going to try to fight this. Let's see if they can get in a position. Illidan leading down around the back. He's going to go ahead and BKB. Gets the Static Storm, or excuse me, the the leash off onto Loda. Behind that, they do manage to catch one out. That's going to be 8mother, who's left behind. The Razor with that static link, trying to find it, but the BKB allows him to get out. This is actually just really well managed by Alliance, as they left the Dragon Knight behind, trusting that he was going to be tanky enough. He had to BKB, but that's fine. They take the tier 2, and the Razor rushing ahead of the rest of his team. I mean, he sapped some damage, and Static Link, not Static Storm, by the way, is a little tongue-tied on that. But yeah, that's just really well managed. They had their objective. They didn't overstay their welcome. They didn't just take a fight because Virtus.Pro dictated that they wanted to fight. They did it at their own pace. And now they're going to have a chance to reset, and there's going to be a vacuum. That catches Phobos. Yules is going to toss him into the air, followed up with the Ice Path. No Macro Pyre, but Dual Breath is there. In the meantime, Illidan's there to try to help out. Here comes a call down from Loda. Goldblack went in, used the epicenter, but the damage not the best. They end up losing the Centaur, and Jakiro still alive, believe it or not, as Misery skirts away to the outside. In the meantime, there's a Yules on the 8mother. Coming back on in, the fight is very spread out. Behind that, we can see Loda trying to get on top of everyone. We heard Ake hit a multicast, but now Illidan caught down below, and Alliance able to pour on the damage as dual BKBs deployed on these two big heroes. Loda saved his as long as he could, and still trying to chase down the Death Prophet as they managed to get 2 out of that, and not just 2, but 2 very tanky heroes that are traditionally and usually very difficult to bring down. And honestly, their coordination there was just much better than Polar. Polar hanging around a situation where there really wasn't a whole lot that was going to go well for them, as it was the Centaur, Phobos, who was originally caught from behind. And now we're going to see, again, the ulti use, silence on 8mother. They're going to just try to press this tier 3 down. Here comes, oh, beautiful Mystic Flare. Loda, though, going to be used out of it. And Phobos came back in, Stampede off cooldown. Macro Pyre right where it needs to be, though. Everyone makes it away on the side of Polar. They do manage to bring down Loda in the meantime, so potentially Alliance overstaying their welcome. It looks, oh, nice. Goldblack caught 8mother from behind. He may end up dead because of, there's going to be the Ignite that should end up killing him off. There's a silence on the 8mother. He's still trying to lose them in the trees as the rest of Polar are trying to chase him out. Beautiful Ice Path from the high ground from Misery, catching 3 as they tried to pursue. And Ake even throwing on the Bloodlust to help Misery get to safety. So Alliance may be playing a little too aggressive that time. Had a win. They got Goldblack. The Ignite did end up killing him from Ake. But losing Loda, never really something they want to do. He's now transitioned, by the way. He's picked up Helm of the Dominator, so that's probably going to be his last mid-game-oriented item. I would imagine at this point against this team, with the BKB already done, he's probably going to look to just build pure damage. Crit, MKB, something like that. Although, I mean, I like this build a lot, actually. I feel like Gyro benefits so immensely from the extra move speed from Yules and just the ability to try to keep himself alive. But he needs damage. He needs the ability to just be that monster, that churning grindstone of death as he, as the game gets later and later. We are still very early in, though, and it has been relatively quiet. We've had some punctuated moments of action, but for the most part, only 13 kills in 26 minutes as both teams have taken their time, although Alliance has been much more active in terms of trying to make things happen off of smoke. Goldblack's going to end up popping it from the high ground. He has to react. Immediately Sandstorms. There's going to be the Burrow Strike to follow. Mystic Flare on the Misery. Yules gets him up in the air, but now Illidan's there with his BKB already up. He's sapping the damage away from 8mother. He's going to turn and start to lay into Admiral Bulldog. And Bulldog not going to be able to make it away as Phobos is there with the follow-up stomp. Goldblack was actually a little slow in reacting there, but it was fast enough as he Sandstorm, then Burrow Struck, and now they're going to be able to take a tower off of that, so that smoke blows up in the face of Alliance. That tier 1 about to drop. 5,000 gold, still the lead for Alliance. The experience was their lead as well. But, if there's anything they should be comfortable with, I mean, I don't know, it's so tough. Whenever you have a gyrocopter, your late game is really going to be good most of the time. Same thing with the Dragon Knight. Down at bottom, actually, we have 8mother who was spotted. Goldblack has teammates on the other side. It looks like, just not a whole lot he can do, I don't suppose. Burrow Strike was on cooldown, and he knew it, so teammates weren't willing to commit to come to the fight, and escape for 8mother that time. But anyway, whenever you're so dependent on your gyrocopter, because I mean, usually you don't see. Yeah, this is what you usually see from Dragon Knights. He's picked up a plate mail, could be a Shivas, could end up being an Assault Cuirass. Assault Cuirass would make sense, a lot more sense than Shivas, I think, in this situation. And yeah, his Assault Cuirass recipe's picked up. This is usually what you see your DKs do. They're just these amazing Aura Hounds who are just tanky and they manage fights well. And once you get the free Scotty effect that comes with level 16 Elder Dragon form, that's more than enough to make him valuable in all of these fights. Again, he's that anchor hero. He manages the fights. He has the auras. He's always up front and willing to just go toe-to-toe because he's a big bruiser. And Gold Black about to get bruised up as, well, yeah, he's got to go. There's the Force Staff, but Ake's right there. Actually, Bro strikes and gets caught. Oh, so close as Gold Black dodged a bullet about 3 times. That ice path could not have been much closer, and that's a very happy little Sand King scurrying his way to safety. But back to what I was saying. The Dragon Knight is not usually going to build super right-clicky. I mean, you'll see it happen sometimes. Mjolnir's a pick that'll help him out, that helps Dragon Knights out with their attack speed, and of course that translates to more DPS. But when you have a Razor on the other side, and you're really more reliant on your gyrocopter to be beginning the big items, to be just chewing through teams as you siege high ground with Flat Cannon. If he gets caught with Static Link, he's just boned. And that's one reason I do like the build that we're seeing so far, as they're using the Courier to spot this ward here. And, of course, the Drodo. My favorite Courier as well. Makes me happy to see people use it. But the Yule Scepter, items like that are going to make him a little bit more elusive, a little bit harder for the Razor to get on him and stay on him. And that's going to be just so important, especially at this stage where he still hasn't really built a ton of right-click. I haven't seen, does he have something? Yeah, he is going with the Demon Edge, so that's kind of what I expected. We'll see if it's going to be a crit build or if it's going to be an MKB build. I don't know that he needs MKB. I mean, crit over time, especially as attack speed ramps up, actually does do more. Building a crit stick does a lot more, ups your DPS more as a late game carry than an MKB does. So MKB is certainly nice in that regard as well, but you don't really see it that often as a first damage item anyway. But now hitting for 200 shot, not too bad. But they're going to have to keep him alive a long time. And it is worth mentioning Bloodlust. Bloodlust, once he is fully built, the Assault Cuirass, and the attack speed and the armor reduction from the Assault Cuirass added to Bloodlust, which is no longer removed by magic immunity, and Flat Cannon. He is just going to have the chance to chew through Polar. But as awesome as that is under any circumstance, Polar is just damn tanky. And they're just going to stay damn tanky. So they got to make sure they keep him alive and that they don't allow Polar, with that all of this initiation potential and with their innate mobility and the Razor and the Death Prophet to really show itself. Razor likely to be the recipient of this Aegis, and it will be him. Alliance was keeping an eye on things and looked like they might have wanted to engage. The Exorcism should be wearing off. And they're going to try to catch somebody, perhaps. Nope, they kind of hesitated there. I think they were trying to time out the Exorcism. It is going to be down for 100 seconds, so 1:40 until that's back up. Is almost level 16 on the Death Prophet, though, so they're going to want to take advantage of this right now. Fighting into an Aegis Razor, though, it's tough. And Razor and DP have actually stayed right in the range of Loda, even though he has been given the most farm priority. So I actually really like VP Polar moving ahead. I mean, all things being equal, the later the game goes, the late game edge to Alliance, just because magic damage dealers are not as reliable late game as, I mean, there's just so much to mitigate them. I mean, yes, you have Veil of Discord to help build that up. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if we did see a Veil come out for Polar at some point on someone. But, just BKBs, you're always going to have 5 seconds on them now. You got to have Pipe, etc. You're going to have some right click out of the Razor, and you're going to have physical DPS coming out of Lil on the Death Prophet. But Alliance, if they are able to get a ton of farm up on their 2 cores, 8 Mother and Loda, I'd like their chances better. But for the foreseeable future, I really like the position Polar's in now, especially if they can catch 8 Mother. It's going to be the Sandstorm from Gold Black, and they're playing very cautiously here. Would have expected him to pull the trigger on that. In the meantime, they do find Loda. Oh, they got him with the Yules. Nice cancel on the stomp. That's going to give him time to BKB, though. He will call down the try to buy himself time to get away. And Gold Black used as well. Gold Black does have a 4 staff, though, and we'll be able to stay on him. There's the Burrow Strike. He's got a little bit of help coming. That's going to be 8 Mother, but no. Right call, 8 Mother. Would have been 2 corpses instead of 1. He was hanging around, and it looked like the rest of his team was flowing that direction, but as they catch him from behind, a very fortuitous pick, and he's down for 50 seconds now. And it cost them pretty much nothing except some time. Now, this is where, just because of the way Dota is now, I mean, push has always been strong, and it always will be. I don't think it'll ever be nerfed off the map, but, they had the ability to take towers so quickly with the Dragon Knight and the Jakiro, and they have managed to take advantage of that for the most part. Anytime in the first 20, 25 minutes that we saw Polar out of position, or they were worried about some other kind of a objective, Alliance was able to do a lot and take towers down and so on. But the towers have been cleared for a while now. There has not been too many outer tier towers up for Polar for a while. But to be honest, they just don't have the firepower to siege yet. It will be an MKB build, by the way, on Gyro, as he picked up his Javelin. And now only about 1,200 gold away from finishing that, so a nice damage item on the way for them. But they're going to have a hard time going high ground, at least for now. I mean, I feel like the Gyro needs a Satanic before they can reliably try to go high ground. And I mean, obviously, if they get a pick or two, they can go high ground. But in a pure 5-on-5, I feel like, especially with an Aegis up, he really needs that MKB. He really needs some regen. And they're going to try to rat where they can. But it's just not going to work, I don't think. The VP, everyone's going to have TPs. There's no outer tier towers. They're doing a great job of keeping their lane shoved out. And they're going to end up taking a tier 2 for free. And they'll be able to get back to stop the push onto the tier 3 bottom. Got a nice ward down as well. I love this ward. I feel like it's such a valuable ward location if you can get it down. Have another one down here as well in the jungle. But for now, both teams resetting. And we can see that lead that was honestly quite large for Alliance at one point. About 7,500 gold to their advantage. The experience has not really opened up that big of a gap. But, I mean, that's considerable, especially 25, 26 minutes into the game. That's now shrunk down to 12.5. And Polar, just gradually clearing off towers at their own pace, has made it work for themselves. Bid Booster pick up on Phobos, so he's in nice shape so far as survivability. Shivas was picked up by the Death Prophet. Sand King got 2,100 gold laid by. And they're going to be able to... Oh, nice. Good follow-up with the Skywrath Mage. Ice Path's actually there to grab Gold Black, though. Illidan's going to have to chase him, but he's going to be able to force staff. Does he have the damage? Oh, no! Just a little too tanky. That Ice Path for Misery, big difference maker there, and now the Aegis is down. So VP, they got some work done. I feel like they would have been happier if they had secured another kill. That would have been the second kill on Loda or 8 Mother in a couple of minutes, on top of taking the tier 2 and it not costing them anything. Vanguard has been picked up by the Centaur, and I would only imagine that's going to be on his way to a Crimson Guard. Crimson Guard is actually quite freaking excellent against Gyrocopter's flat cannon. 90 damage reduction on everyone who's caught with it. Flat, flat time and flat damage reduction. And that's just long enough for flat cannon basically to expire. They're going to catch Misery in mid. BKB used by Phobos. Nice, very quick blink. And Bulldog's right up there with him. Bulldog has a Hex, so we have yet to see it really be put to use. But Gold Black and company trying to chase them down and find anyone anywhere they can. Refresher now up on Illidan. And these heroes are just getting very tanky. They may just wait out the Crimson Guard. I mean, Phobos has a bit of way to go to it, but honestly, I think they can just go fight. Like, they're, even though Alliance technically still has the gold lead, I actually feel like Polar is going to have a much easier time going high ground. But Alliance, true to form, excellent with their positioning, going to make it a risky proposition for them to commit to a push at bottom as they're already knocking at the gate. They have a glyph and they will send a few back. The tier 2 did end up dropping down at bottom, but a little bit of free damage done as Polar has to react en masse And they do get the tier 3 down just a little bit. But I honestly don't know where you go from here. I mean, right now, 8Mother, he bought most of the components for this Assault Cuirass a while ago, but he's been kind of stunted a bit. And it's easy to see why. I mean, he just hasn't been all that active. I mean, 1, 1, and 3 for him. But, you know, for the most part, it has been a relatively quiet game, so I guess that's not really fair. But sitting even below Bulldog in terms of overall net worth, Bulldog, with the Scythe of Ice up, is going to be a huge, huge part of Alliance's success. They have to prioritize their targets. They have to be able to lock these heroes down and focus fire them, as tanky as they are. And even though they do have excellent wombo combo potential, with Vacuum and the Ice Path, with Wall, and so on and so on and so on, Call Down, what have you. The BKBs have come out quite a bit. 3 of them up on the side of Polar. So relying on just hitting a big combo is going to be hit and miss. There's going to be an Ice Path Illidan right there, and hexed out by Admiral Bulldog. He did get silenced, but they do have him from behind. He's down to half health. He's going to be 4-staff, has BKB, and now they're going to try to turn it around. Goldblack catches him with the Burrow Strike, and Bulldog's going to end up feeding. As now VP has them on the run. There's going to be a Yules onto the Ogre. In the meantime, DK did finish his Assault Cuirass. Wish he would have had it a little bit earlier, so they're going to get 3. Misery's down. And the item progression for Polar has just been too good. That was a little greedy from Alliance. We do have 1 buyback out. That is the Jakiro. The Darkseer does not have it, nor does the Ogre. They're going to try to hold this. Oh, Bobos went in, but now he's stutter-stepping. He's 4-staff down to the low ground. Could have missed an opportunity there. They're using the Exorcism just to peck away at the tower. BKB deployed on Lil, and now we're going to have 8Mother caught from behind. If they can get him, it'll be huge. Chasing him down to the tier 4s. They got him. 1 last Arcane Bolt. There's going to be another nice Ice Path, though, as Loda with his own BKB up, trying to go to work. BKB now expired. The Yule Scepters are just everywhere as he comes back down to shaky ground, and Goldblack, with that epicenter, with the rest of his team, cleans him up. Loda has buyback. He's down 60 if he doesn't want to expend it, but no buyback on the Dragon Knight. Here we go. There's going to be the Vacuum into the Ice Path, but it just doesn't matter. The damage follow-up isn't really there. Bulldog out there, they're just trying to buy time at this point. There's going to be the Stampede. Loda did buy back. Now they have to run. So they knew Loda was going to have to buy back and was planning to. They just wanted to make sure that when he did, it wasn't just a buyback and chase them. They wanted kills, and they're not going to get them. Nope, check that. They may get Phobos. Oh, homing missile catches him from behind, and 1 last right-click from Loda at least gets them 1. So the tier 3 drops, but the racks remain standing. It did cost them 2 buybacks, though. The Jakiro, but most notably the Loda, the Gyrocopter. And, oh, got him. And the Mini Bash, legit, as Illidan now Yulesed up and using the Static Link to sap that damage. Caught with the call down, so unable to pursue that well. And it is just funny watching this many Yule Scepters on one map. Bulldog next to drop as he's cleaned up from behind. Ice Path thrown from Misery, got 2. BKB going to be used by Illidan. He's down to his 5-second charge, so they're not going to be able to pursue very long. Yeah. Ice Path once again. Oh, wow. So greedy, and Illidan's going to pay the price. What was he thinking? His BKB had expired, and he rushed blindly uphill and got caught because of it. Misery there with his own Yule's going to catch low from behind. Goldblack in the meantime trying to buy time. Doesn't matter. They have him hemmed up. 3 down as they get 2 kills on the Death Prophet and the Razor. What a bizarre sequence. I mean, Alliance keeping their racks up was a big deal. Roche not up yet. If they hang around just a little while, though, they have to know he's coming up soon. Yeah, they're just going to wait. They'll probably give it another 20, 30 seconds, and that's going to be just enough time for the big boy to respawn. Yeah, there it is. But anyway, you know, there was a buyback from Loda, which is a win in and of itself. And then they end up getting 1, and that's fine. You end up saving your buddy. I don't know, just a weird sequence. Like, it would have been fine if they had just pursued to the river, but the fact that they dipped down and then up into the dark against the Alliance, who they knew had, what, full personnel, it's not like they're going to fail to come help Loda. And it cost them dearly as they lose 2 of their cores and they lose an Aegis over it. So at 42 minutes in, we see Polar had taken the lead that Alliance had built by 25 minutes in, turned it on its head, and had built a lead just as large, and now they're giving it back. 3,500 and the experience right near 0. About 3,500 XP as well, but at this stage, you know, take a look at the hero levels. Other than some slightly under-leveled supports, everyone's quite large. But Polar's got to be kind of... If I were them, I would feel like I had the wind knocked out of me. You had so much momentum. You had great picks. And then you were able to press the tier 3. You forced 2 buybacks. And then you just give it away. Scepter picked up on Ake in the meantime. So that unrefined Fire Blast. Like a West Virginia debutante, unrefined. So going to have that to draw up on. Loda, in the meantime, has 2,800 gold put away for himself. Butterfly an option. Still think we're likely to see the Satanic. Makes a lot more sense on him. Cheese was picked up by 8 Mother there. That's just as big a deal, man. Just keeping him, just as big a deal as the Aegis. Just keeping him up and around in these fights is so huge. Bulldog, in the meantime, looks like he wants a Scepter, but he is going to be banking for buyback right now. 1,300 gold, but he does have a point booster in his inventory. For Polar, Gold Black picked this up a while ago, is that Veil. With all of the magic damage they have, there's just no reason to expect that they wouldn't have one by this stage of the game. Razor's picked up an ulti orb, and they're going to have Alliance all hemmed up as 5. They're going to try to catch them. There's going to be the plasma field. Can't get eyes on them. Stampede's up. Now they're going to see him. There's going to be the Stampede. BKB is already up. They're going to get Ake for sure, and we see 8 Mother coming back down to hostile ground as he had the BKB, but they're right on him. He's just going to try to TP away and should be able to do so. So BKB's expended on both sides, but they do manage to get the pick onto Ake. Bulldog. Oh, he canceled it. He was just about to TP out. He didn't get spotted here. Now they're going to come out. They want to go for this kill, and they're going to get it. So a little bit of odd positioning there as the rest of Polar pulled back, but their stand-in, their Skywrath Mage, just kept wandering around and got caught as Bulldog canceled his TP to make sure they could secure that kill. Now they're moving out. Misery and Loda looking to make something happen, and they're going to run into 3 or 4 here if they're not super careful. They do have help coming up the gut as 8 Mother's moving in that direction with his Elder Dragon form under use. But they end up trading support for support by the time all's said and done. Centaur did finish his Crimson Guard in the meantime. And now we see, most likely, Lil on the way to a heart as he's picked up the Reaver. Aegis has 2 minutes left on it. And they're going to go for this. There's going to be a stomp that catches loaded. Do they have the damage? Yes. Can they chain it all together? So close. They can't. Got him. Aegis down. Only had 2 minutes left. Did he use the Satanic? Oh, he did. He used the Satanic. BKB. Oh, wow. Misplayed by Loda. That Satanic should have been ready. And the BKB should have been ready. Instead, he drops. Don't know the Satanic would have made a difference, but either way, Polar holds court. And they are on the warpath, charging down mid now. Naked Rax, as the tier 3 dropped some time ago. Loda does not have buyback. He wouldn't have it even if he had the gold, which he doesn't. And this is going to be Rax for Polar. And with 50 seconds and no buyback, this could be 2, unless they just manage to hold this together by a miracle. Bulldog's there, throws down the wall. And Misery, the first to die, drops the gem. In the meantime, Gold Black has been focus fired down. The karate chops from Bulldog, not enough damage, though. He rushes through the wall and ends up dead because of it. They're holding this fairly well. Buyback from Misery. That's his second of the game. 8 Mother managing this fight very well, but they're right on his tail. And they should be able to catch him from behind. There's a Fire Blast that actually locked down the Razor. 8 Mother just doing everything he can. Bulldog's there to help. Misery hanging around the back. Illidan's going to be Yules in the meantime. The Crimson Guard has been activated. And 8 Mother being surged over and over again. And we're going to see Illidan make his way back home to safety behind that Misery. Actually catches Lil with the Yules. And they're going to be using everything they can to bring him down. He is so ridiculously tanky. Still 14 seconds until BKB. Doesn't matter. Ake there. The little roll of the dice helps secure the kill.
Double damage.
So even though they can't preserve all of their racks, they keep the melee standing. And the ranged, while a loss, not nearly as bad as it looked like it could have been. Intense back and forth match as we approach 50 minutes now. And the buyback status for the Death Prophet is, yeah, she can. So we'll see if Alliance is going to be able to force this. Scepter done. On Bulldog in the meantime. Going high ground is so risky against this squad of VP. We saw it when they were trying to a minute ago. It was a little slow reaction from Loda. Got chain stunned. Had his Aegis bursted down. And now all we can do is wait. They can't wait too long, though. 25 seconds until the Death Prophet is back up. They're continuing to rattle their saber, but are they going to commit? Here we go. 8 Mother BKBs, just as we saw the Centaur go in. There's going to be a vacuum. Ice Path actually off the mark in terms of the vacuum point. Bulldog's eating a lot of damage. Gold Black there using that Veil and his ulti to help scare them off. It's 2 for 2 right now, but we're going to have the Death Prophet back up now. Illidan in the meantime down below half health. Rest of Alliance has to try to run. Centaur still up and running. Buyback on Gold Black Sand King. They get Ake. And that's going to be a win without a doubt for Polar. They lost the tier 3. But they're going to be okay with that. As they end up getting 3 down. No buyback on Ake. 8 Mother does have it. Bulldog does not. So finishing that Scepter, he finished it for that fight. And because of that, he doesn't have buyback. This is going to be at least the death of this melee Rax. And honestly, it could be too. The Gyro, as scary as he is, again, the heroes on the side of Polar are just so tanky. They have the ability to sap his damage. And he really needs the protection of those frontline fighters. He needs Bulldog up front being a menace. He needs the Dragon Knight up front soaking damage. DK back up in 10. Darkseer back up in 8. And it looks like they don't want to roll the dice. They don't want to take too much of a chance. That ultimate orb that was picked up by the Razor becomes a Scotty, which I actually love against the Gyrocopter in particular. Alliance certainly still in this game. But they do have a lot of ground to make up. And it looks like they're just going to head down mid and hope to take a fight. And I really don't know what else they can do. Roshan, couple of minutes up, away from being up, rather. They're going to smoke. Now, they've had some hit and miss success with smoke, to put it mildly. Has not always worked out in their favor for sure. And looks like they just want to catch someone slipping out of the gate. And they managed to get the Yules off onto the Razor. There's going to be the Ice Path, but the BKB is there. In the meantime, they turn it around. 8 Mother having all that damage sapped. He's lost more than 100 damage. And behind that, we actually see the Centaur coming in. Beautiful burrow strike from Gold Black as he helps clean things up. Loda still has his Satanic to use, but he's Yules. Macro Pyre goes down. They will get him from behind. Loda has buyback, and he's probably going to have to expend it to save this game. 4 down, 4-0. Ake able to TP away right in their face. But they're going to be able to rush down, and there it is. You see it drawn right there. That's the plan. Head down mid, bounce to bottom. Disastrous fight for Alliance. And the tools that VP has to deal with what Alliance's team is good at are just too much. They have so much magic damage. They get on 8 Mother. He can't do anything. The Scotty pickup on the Razor, always solid for that exact reason. You attack, they can't run regardless of magic immunity. You stay leashed. It just doesn't matter. Here come the creeps. Gyro did use his buyback. We'll throw down the call down. Heart done in the meantime on Lil. He's going to be a raid boss. There's going to be Gold Black catching Loda from behind. They're going to follow it up. Silence. And he will be able to BKB. Now we're going to have the refresher on Illidan used. Ake can't do anything. He's just going to melt all of that. Stampede's going to be used. Lil Tesoro right up front. And tanking all of this damage. Loda doing everything he can, but he can't stand in the face of the Exorcism Ghost. He just can't. 8 Mother using his BKB once again as well. Tier 3's down. Let's see. Are they actually going to charge out? They lost their Skywrath Mage. It looks like they're worried about fighting with Exorcism coming... reaching its conclusion. I actually feel like they still could turn around and fight this, but they are very ultimate dependent, and Gold Black doesn't have the mana for his epicenter, among other things. Bulldog staying right on him. There's going to be a vacuum. Hex. Ice Path. They'll need a bit of damage. Macro Pyre helps. But he's got Burrow Strike. Oh, he actually just used... That was a little goofy. Ends up dropping a gem because of it. He actually had the mana for a Burrow Strike. Let's see. Yeah, he had it for a Burrow Strike and a Force Staff. So if he had just Force Staffed and then Burrow Struck, he'd have been all right. Odd. Nonetheless, Alliance keeps this game going, but just barely. A pick onto Lowell here would be certainly nice. Misery's there. Ice Path, Bulldog right there to help. BKB, very quickly used by Lil. Uses his Jules as well to buy him some time. And can't overstate how important it is that Alliance kept at least both of these up. Like, losing, uphold that thought. They're actually just going to catch the Skywrath who walked out and fed, for lack of a better way to put it. Had to assume Alliance was in the vicinity. Now they're going to catch Phobos from behind. And there's going to be BKBs and ultimates aplenty. Bulldog's in trouble. He's going to end up dying behind this. And they're going to chase this out. We actually see Misery continuing to split push at top. Loda gets eyes on Illidan. Oh, no. Good follow-up from the Centaur. They need a little bit more, though. And hell, here comes Lil. Lil doesn't have his ulti, does have a Shivas. They're going to end up getting Illidan almost certainly. Yes, got him from behind. And oh, if they get Lil, this is huge. They both have buyback. They certainly didn't want to expend it, so being a little greedy and trying to pursue this out while Misery just kept the pressure up on top. Dual buybacks as they have to come in and keep this game extended. They don't want to lose Rax. They have one lane of Rax advantage and one more fight, and they'll be able to clear out the second set of Rax in bottom lane, so they don't want to give anything up. Ice Path catches a couple. Misery basically just running interference at this point. The rest of the team making it home, and Misery rewarded for his efforts. Finds himself a haste room. 21-27 now in a game approaching 1 hour in length. Polar built themselves what was the highest lead of the game, close to 14,000 gold and experience. Alliance has once again made a dent, but now with the Roshan ready to drop, going to be a hell of a test. I mean, they're just so damn tanky, man. I mean, hell, just the Centaur and the Death Prophet together have just about 7,000 HP. That's huge. Yeah, factor in Illidan, he's at 32. You're talking their 3 cores have 10,000 HP between them. That is gigantic. And they've surpassed everyone else from Alliance in terms of farm. Loda's farmed well. And he will be getting a bee, or a butterfly, rather. He's picked up his quarterstaff. But still needs a bit more to finish it. Has enough for the Eagle Song. Just not enough for the Eagle Song and the Talisman of Evasion. And I don't think Polar is going to give him time to find it. Doesn't have buyback for 2.5 minutes. Does have the gold for it if he needs it. 8 Mother has buyback as well. Only the Centaur has buyback on the side of Polar. And he still got his strengths up. He may want to buy bots. Like, if they're serious about closing this game out right now, with that Aegis and double damage there as well. Nobody spotted it, though. They do have a rune down, or a ward down, but not about to back off. They're just going to work, and they're going to deploy the exorcism. Alliance going to try to hold this game together. Ice Path, irrelevant. BKB on the mark. They're going to lose 2 sets. Yeah, they're going to lose both of them. Just lost them for free. Now they're going to try to punish them on their way back out. Ice Path there on the Illidan, but he's forced that back to safety. In the meantime, Lil caught with the homing missile. Hey, Mother's going to come out, but he's kind of by himself. He's going to be caught by the static link. And just right-click down. He accomplished nothing there. Died completely on his own. Now the Stampede in the fall. They got Loda from behind. Misery's next to drop. Ake has to make a run for it. Bulldog's Jules. 8 Mother with the immediate buyback. Loda can't buy back for another 70 seconds or so. That's it. GG. So a game that really went quite a while. And it's, it's not that surprising, but it is at the same time, because you had 2 teams, 2 compositions that were both phenomenal at mid-game aggression, at pressing and taking towers and objectives. But coming down the stretch, I liked Virtus.Pro's late game potential. I really did. But in the end, the work done by Polar was just too much. Way, way too much. And taking a look at the box score, we can see Illidan led the way, 12, 3, and 16 for him, part of 28 kills on his own. Misery was an impactful player. Still finishing at 0 and 7, a few more deaths than he would have liked. Those deaths on the loader, really, though, are what cost them as much or more than anything. And also 8 Mother, finishing at 3 and 5. Really need your Dragon Knight to be staying alive and to be having an impact in these